Hi, it's O.T. Carlson here. I've been downsizing my collection a bit, trying to keep all the movies, but in some cases buying smaller sets that are a little more compact and convenient for my limited shelf space. On this channel over the years, I've reviewed all of the Halloween films, one of my all-time favorite horror franchises. That includes, of course, reviewing the more recent David Gordon Green trilogy of films, although I've now sold my individual discs to a friend and I've purchased this. This is the Halloween Trilogy Steelbook edition, which contains all three of the David Gordon Green films. I'm going to unbox this release and share my opinions. Nice close up there of Michael Myers and Laurie reflected in the knife. 4K Ultra HD plus digital code. This does not include Blu-ray copies of the film, but all the bonus features are on the 4Ks, so as long as you own a device that plays 4Ks, you shouldn't really have any problems there. Back of the slipcover. Under the slipcover, we just got Michael Myers' face plain, spine text. Back there, you got reflections in the knife. There is a digital code of the films. On the back, there's an ad for some other stuff from Universal. There you got things like Happy Death Day and Megan, Get Out. Some good stuff there that you might also want to pick up on 4K. On this side, we have Halloween, the 2018 reboot film. Over here, we have Halloween Kills, which was the second film in the trilogy. And then up here, we have Halloween Ends, the third and final film in the trilogy. And to date, the most recent and final Halloween movie. Under them, we got a really great piece of artwork there with Laurie Strode pointing a gun at Michael Myers. I really like how that looks. Only one of them will survive. Experience the epic end of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode's long vendetta as Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends bring the celebrated horror franchise to a close. Halloween is certainly a complicated horror series because it's been softly rebooted so many times. I mean, originally you had Halloween 1 and 2, and that branched off into 4, 5, and 6. And then those were retconned. You had Halloween 1 and 2 branching off into H2O and Resurrection. And now you have David Gordon Green ignoring all films but the original and making his own trilogy with original film director John Carpenter serving as a producer. This was, of course, a revival that this series desperately needed after some well-intentioned but ultimately misfires that were directed by Rob Zombie. And it does take the series back to its roots in many ways. At this point, Laurie Strode has become a grandmother, but she's somewhat reclusive and hardened following her encounter with Michael Myers, and of course is constantly living in fear and paranoia that one day the masked killer will return. Sure enough, on Halloween, when her granddaughter's out trick-or-treating, that's exactly what happens, and it's not long before all hell is breaking loose in Haddonfield again, and a body count is quickly stacking up. This story, of course, continues in the next film, Halloween Kills, where Laurie's confined to a hospital bed, but the main character pretty much becomes the community of Haddonfield, which has been united by this tragedy, with many of the people in town forming a posse to finally put an end to Michael Myers once and for all, many of whom have had relatives or friends killed at the hands of Myers. Halloween Ends concludes the series about 4 years later with a young man who's bullied and ostracized, finding Michael Myers, taking his mask, and becoming a killer of sorts in his own right. And it doesn't help that he's actually romantically infatuated with Laurie Strode's granddaughter. So how do I feel about the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy? Basically, it started in pretty fine form. The 2018 film was a great addition to the series and the kick in the pants it needed after so long. It brought back fan-favorite character Laurie Strode, portrayed by original actress Jamie Lee Curtis, while also expanding her family and painting her as something of a recluse, which is largely believable given the post-traumatic stress he surely would have faced. And there are some interesting elements here, although it does maybe go off the rails one or two times, maybe a little too much. Still, it is a pretty solid film. Halloween Kills, the second film in the trilogy, is probably my favorite of the three. This is essentially just Michael Myers cutting loose, wreaking havoc, but then you also have the townspeople in that situation where they're uniting as a posse to try to kill Myers once and for all. And this movie makes the town of Haddonfield the main character rather than Laurie Strode, who I admittedly do wish had a bigger role in the film. But overall, this one Even if it doesn't really do anything too original in the series, I don't think there's ever been a film that features Michael Myers doing what he does best better than this one. And unfortunately, everything falls completely off the rails for Halloween Ends. They set the film 4 years later, which I think really kills a lot of the momentum. They bring in a previously unseen character who was not at all built up to in the prior films, and they make this guy the main villain, and they make Michael Myers a supporting character in his own movie, which is an absolutely terrible send-off for one of horror's great cinema villains. It's just so sad that this trilogy, which had 2 great installments, ultimately tanked with the last one. That just makes me wonder if the filmmakers had any idea what they were doing. Still, I do think the good outweighs the bad in this rebooted Halloween trilogy from David Gordon Green. And I'm glad to see that we actually have a Steelbook package here that combines all 3 movies. And this way, of course, this takes up a lot less space on my shelf, and it's a pretty nice looking Steelbook as well. The movies, from what I can tell, are identical to the previously released version, being modern productions shot in all the best of ways. Each one of them looks very good in 4K, and an extra boost from the HDR certainly makes a world of difference. Each of the discs does have plenty of bonus features, including things like alternate cuts, the EPK type features you'd expect, deleted and extended scenes. So there's some stuff you might want to check out if you're a fan. I'm glad to see it's not a bare bones package. And I can easily recommend this to any fan of the Halloween franchise or horror movies in general who hasn't picked up any other release of this series of films. You won't get anything here that you don't get with the current existing individual releases, however, other than the unique Steelbook packaging, which is actually quite nice. So, recommend it if you don't already have the movies and you're curious or a fan. How about you? Are you a fan of the Halloween series of films? What did you think of David Gordon Green's trilogy? What's your favorite Halloween movie? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos, and make sure you listen to like if you found it helpful. I'm T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.